من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وإنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. I greet you all with the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and the blessing of Almighty Allah be with you all. Welcome you all for continuation of our series, the morning series about Azamat al-Islam, the greatness of Islam. This Islam, as we understand, came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Al-Azim, the greatest of all things. Whatever comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is good and nothing but good. And the beauty of Islam is something that have to be seen by every human being, Muslims and non-Muslims. And by seeing the beauty of Islam, this is strengthen our iman and make us more in submission to Allah and to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this will increase the love of Islam in our hearts. And we've been for the last 3-4 months reading from this book Azamat al-Islam by Mahmoud Mahdi al-Istanbuli. And in this segment this morning we're talking about one of the things that you can number that part of the beauty of Islam, that Islam is against الاتكالية والاعتماد على الغير. الاتكالية والاعتماد على الغير. Islam is against a person living of other people back of their back. And Islam wants a person to be independent in himself, caring for himself, and those who that after a certain age you shouldn't be acting like a kid or a baby, you understand, waiting for mom to feed you and your dad to shelter you and things like this. You have to be a person that taking care of your needs and your wants. This is something very important. So Islam wants you to be independent and wants you to be free person. And life without freedom is not worthy of living. And Islam wants you to be your own person, that you take care of your own business, and that you are a free person, not waiting for somebody to feed you or to direct you or to use you. And we found verses in the Quran supporting this notion, and this surah number 16, verse number 75 and 76. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا عَبْدًا مَمْلُوكًا لَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَى شَيْءٍ وَمَنْ رَزَقْنَاهُ رِزْقًا حَسَنًا فَهُوَ يُنْفِقُ مِنْهُ سِرًّا وَجَهْرًا هَلْ يَسْتَوُونَ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ بَلْ أَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put different examples in the Quran, because by people reflecting in this parable and these examples, they will see the reality of what good that Allah invited them for. Now imagine a person that he's owned by somebody, he have a master, okay? So that means he has no power, no might of his own, that he only move when his master tell him to move right or left. While in the other side of the coin, he found a person whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had provided him a good provision, and he has the freedom to spend day and night, right or left. Those two people, they are not equal. Okay? And after this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised himself. بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. If we know the difference between these two parable or these two example, we are not going to choose to understand the words of them. No one want to be a slave of somebody. Somebody direct my life. Somebody tell me what to sleep, where to go, not to go, all these things. You want to be your own man, have your own will, that you can do what is right whenever you can do it, okay? And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا الرَّجُلَيْنِ أَحَدُهُمَا أَبْكَمْ لَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَى شَيْءٍ وَكَلٌّ عَلَى مَوْلَاهِ أَيْنَمَا يُوَجِّهُ لَا يَأْتِ بِخَيْرٍ هل يستوي هو ومن يأمر بالعدل وعلى صراط مستقيم. About to get this verse, inshallah.
And Allah says forth the parable of two men. One of them is dumb, not able to do anything, and he is a burden to his master. Whenever he sends him, he brings no good. Can he be held equal with him who enjoins what is just, and he himself on whom is the right path?
So which side, the understanding of the coin we're going to choose? What kind of a person that we want to be? You want to be owned by somebody, directing your life, your sleep, your food, everything, or you want to be your own self, okay? So Islam wants you to be a free person, free in your thinking, free in your movement, free in everything. You don't enslave yourself to anyone other than your Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not to be, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ta'is abdul dirham, ta'is abdul dinar, ta'is abdul qatifa, ta'is abdul khamisa, okay? And slavery have a different forms. Some people slaves of the color, some people skin color, some people are a slave of a flag, some people are a slave of constitution, okay? You found it. And some people, they are slaves of material thing, that whatever and however the dollar command and direct to you, you behind this dollar, okay? As a result of this, you find in Islam what? Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest of all things. You don't make anything greatest than Allah in your life and the deen of Allah. Otherwise, you're going to be a slave. And now we found people slave are exactly like what the Prophet said. Kids, they understand in different schools, they value themselves about what kind of sneakers that they wear, okay? And this brand name of this shirt and this ties and things like this, they became ubudiyya. So they're born in slavery and they're going to live all their life like this, all right? And this person that owned by another man, he's a man and this a man, but there is a man that directed by a man could not do anything in his own. And the other person is the one who gives the direction. A Muslim shouldn't ever be in form of a slavery to a man, to a woman, to a constitution, to a flag. You are only a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we enslave ourselves to Allah with the choice and with love. Not out fear only, okay? With fear and love. And this is the best form of slavery, and any other form of slavery is something very bad. Another point concerning the beauty of Islam, that Islam always calling for returning the evil with good, okay? Like I say, you did not put out fire with fire, Okay? Except you understand with the enemies of Allah. All right? Some people who do not understand the proper methodology. But when it comes about the believers, you put the fire off with what? With water. What does this mean? When your brother get mad and you get mad, it doesn't work. When your wife get mad and you get mad, it's not going to work like this. Okay? So when somebody's hot, the other person have to be cool. Okay? Because what? Because only one reason, that this person is your brother or your sister in Islam. So when you lower your wing, you lower your wing not out of fear or weakness, but you do it out of love of Allah and caring for this person. That they will get to know what is the proper methodology of dealing with another. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always encouraging us that we what? Be forgiving, patient with one another, tolerance to one another. Okay? He's saying in Surah number 42, وَلَمَنْ صَبَرَ وَغَفَرَ إِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. Those who are patient, okay? This is part of the determination and the highest quality of behavior. They have patience, and what else? Forgiveness. And this patience does not come because weakness, okay? But because Allah, for the sake of Allah, you lower your wing, okay? Fire with fire is going to add more fire, okay? As a result of this, he found that the description of the believers in the Quran, in another place, Allah saying what? أَشِدَّاءُ عَلَى الْكُفَّارِ رَحَمَاءُ بَيْنَهُمْ. They tender towards one another. Among themselves, they forgive, they patient, they let it go. But when comes those who do not know our methodology, and they think it's part of weakness, you have to be still and hard. Okay? Yeah. You found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us in Surah number 3, verse 133, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And hasten, all of you hasten towards what? Forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Jannah, which is the width of it, as equal as the earth and the heaven together. Okay? But this Jannah, which is so big and wide, Allah prepared it for the muttaqeen. Okay? It's not a free gift. You have to work, you have to sweat to get it. And part of those characteristic of al-muttaqeen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, those who spend in the time of ease and time of difficulty. Okay? What else? Says those who control their anger when they get angry. How are you going to develop this characteristic in yourself unless you are a believer? Unless you're willing to listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow the footsteps of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those control their anger when they get angry. And also those who forgive. They let it go. Okay? And Allah yuhibbul muhsinin. Allah loves those who have ihsan. Okay? They treat the good with the best. And the best with excellence. They always give more. Okay? They did not understand, okay, you curse me, I'm going to curse you. You slap me, I'm going to slap you. This can be outside of the Muslim Ummah. Okay? You have to stand for your right and you have to establish your strength and your power. But when it comes about with the Muslims, you do it and you lower your wing. Why? Only for the sake of Allah. Not a fear of a person. Because you wishing to get these great rewards that Allah had prepared for those that is enough that Allah given you this certificate. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin. You want Allah's love? Be among the muhsinin. Go to the excellence. Okay? Not to go for what is equal. No. Try to be a better. Try to be better than your Muslim brother. He's Muslim, you're Muslim. But this is a place for competition.
with one another towards goodness. Okay? He be bad, you don't be bad. So too bad is not going to work. Again, like fire, you don't put the fire off with fire, but you use the water. You understand? So this is the beauty of Islam, that implement these things in us, so we can be the best ummah and the best community. When the Prophet ﷺ been questioned about husnul khuluq, what is the best characteristic, what is the best behavior, he said that تصل من قطعك وتعفو عمن ظلمك وتعطي من حرمك. Subhanallah. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see from us. A person who boycott you, you try to be a brother to him. You try to connect this relationship. And a person who transgress against you, that you forgive him. All right? And a person who deprive you, you give him. You be the opposite. Be the opposite. Because you're only wishing for the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshallah, I don't want to drag it longer than this morning. Hopefully that if we can focus about these things and always try to remember, when it comes about your Muslim brothers and sisters, especially in your own family, because sometimes we extend these things to the masjid. Oh, he's my Muslim brother, you understand, now I have to be good to him. What about your wife? What about your husband? So you understand that this also they Muslims, and they deserve your best treatment more than anybody else. Your family comes first, comes your neighbor after this, comes a larger community. But sometimes it would be good, you understand, we want to give the brother, you understand, a miswak, and give the brother, you understand, some perfume, and you understand, take the person for breakfast. But we don't have these things with our family in the house. Why? You see? So the Muslim Ummah is built on love, sharing, being patient with one another, and they try to work towards a best Ummah. That when one limb of it suffer, that the rest of the body will be suffering. What's happening nowadays with the Muslim Ummah, everywhere, it didn't come out of nothing. Because the people did not have this teaching, they did not implement it. It's written in books, and the books are closed, okay? And if the books is open, it's to memorize and to pass the exam and things like this. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So let's, inshallah, try to be a people who always try to free ourselves from needs of others. That be people that patient with one another. Be a people that try to live the real life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the real sunnah. Miswak is sunnah, shortening the thobe is sunnah, growing your beard is sunnah, and also being patient with the people is sunnah. Okay? So why we go to this sunnah but forget about these other sunnahs? Okay? And forgiving people is part of the sunnah. And being patient with the people part of the sunnah. Okay? So this is the greatness of Islam. It teach and implement this akhlaq, and this is the only way that you can have a ummah that has rahmah, has mercy, they caring for one another. They will try to protect each other, okay? They don't try to slander each other or backbiting each other or even killing each other. This is what the people living today. All what you hear from the news is nothing but Muslims. Nothing but Muslims. But there is a big difference between Islam that in the books and that Islam that we see nowadays among the Muslims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all that we can get the best of this deen in our life and implement it to right to live it, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the abilities that we put what we heard this morning in action, inshallah. Ameen. آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. But do you have any concern, any comments, any correction? Correction, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anybody have a news? Share anything with us? Anybody have proposal for Ramadan? Ramadan is coming. Ramadan is coming soon. Huh? Yes.
Was talking about a place for Eid. I was talking
To eat?
for Eid.
Oh, for Eid?
Me and
Okay.
Mr. Hill was talking about that. I think